Welcome to 10 Women, bringing together 10 women with 10 thought-provoking questions based on one theme.
During this episode of 10 Women, we'll hear 10 different answers to this question. Imagine you get to have a conversation with yourself 10 years ago. What would surprise your younger self about you now?
Our priorities and our motivations definitely change over time. What are you embracing now that your younger self would be surprised about?
So 10 years ago, my son was 2, and he was in that whole toddlerdom age. And I thought, gosh, it's just so hard, the sleep and, chasing after a kid. And now I think I'd be surprised that it's actually much harder as I get older. I was completely surprised.
For me, it's my younger self would probably be surprised at how I feel differently now, like physically differently, the aches and pains, the level that I'm at now. I've tried really hard to eat well and to exercise, but some of those activities have actually contributed to the ouch. For example, for years I danced barefoot, and I think it contributed to my Morton's neuroma in my foot. So past Sarah, wear supportive shoes. Before we hear the 10 answers, remember to take a moment to think about your own answer to this question.
Imagine you get to have a conversation with yourself 10 years ago. What would surprise your younger self about you now? And don't forget that we want to hear your answers too. Follow our 10 Women series on Instagram to share your thoughts and to read the responses of others in our community. Visit our website to find other ways to connect.
My name is Kimberly Burke, and I'm a human, a teacher, and a lover. I've always thought that I was going to die young, but I've also had, tons of life experiences like cancer a bazillion times, and I broke my neck, and I really didn't think I would get old. And I didn't think I would make it through, even emotionally or whatever, but I have made it through every bad day I've ever had. And I persist, and I really didn't realize how persistent I would be when I was young. And that kind of goes back to being my own superhero. That in those darkest of days, I just never dreamed I would see the light again, both physically and mentally, and here I am.
My name is Judy Fowler. I am an educator, a mom, and a team player. This is a great question because I look at it as trying to think where I was, like where I was personally, professionally. 10 years ago, we were getting ready, the birth of our first child, all those different things, right? All that fun and this scariness was happening. Doing things a little bit later in life anyway, so we waited, we did career first and then family second, we wanted to be established. But if I think about that, I think 10 years ago, I would probably be high-fiving and saying, good for you for opening your mouth, because I was not always the one that would open my mouth first. I still sit back and I process and I observe. I think that's, again, being the only child and being around a lot of adults, and then, of course, some situations it was being around conversations only in Korean. I understood the language a lot better when I was younger, but I was able to understand inflection. I was able to read all those different things. But I think as I joke, like, there's something liberating about being in your 50s. Like, all of a sudden 50 hits and you're like, okay, now all of a sudden I open my mouth. And I remember even saying, why did I wait so long? So I think if it were me 10 years ago, it'd be like, atta girl, you need to do this. And looking back, wishing that I would have done it 10 years ago.
My name is Terry Wiggins, and I am a woman. I am a mother, and I am a daughter. Yes, I had some thoughtfulness on this one. I wasn't sure where to go with it. I'm living in a townhouse, which I never thought I would be living in. I don't have a grandchild yet. I'm still working, which I wasn't sure, where that would lead me. And that, again, just brings me such joy. So I have to continue doing that. But I didn't know if I would 10 years ago. And I realized that I don't have a fear of dying. I'm okay with that whole aspect of life. I probably never looked at aging as a developmental task, so to speak. Before 10 years ago, it's like, oh, I've studied the developmental tasks earlier on, but as an elder, no. And one of the things that I read is that we get a chance to nourish ourselves as elders. So, we've got permission to do that, so to speak. I'm still, again, appreciating the traveling idea. Who knew that I'd still love to travel? Yes, my friends and I get together. It could be one friend, it could be two friends, 3, 4, 5, and we try to put our heads together to remember things. And that's something, who knew where memory would be 10 years previous to this. But we ask each other to help remember what that actor's name is and in what film that actor was actually in. And so it's been interesting to look at the support that we have for each other in trying to remember things. And then we're okay with it. We kind of laugh at ourselves. And the other place where I laugh is hearing myself groan when I get up from the floor to a standing position. And my dad used to do this, and I kind of chuckled when he did this because he seemed so fit. It's like, what's happening? This groan just comes out of me, and I have no control over it. And so I get to not only remember my father, I get to laugh at myself because why am I groaning? It's just an interesting thing, and I'm not the only one.
My name is Susan Sassman, and I am an extrovert, a creative visionary, and a nurturing kind of gal. My younger self would be surprised at how much I make me the center of my life. Because 10 years ago, I was still doing a lot of things for a lot of people, and that would feed my self-esteem. And over the last 10 years, I have learned that I get to benefit as well, and that I can pour a whole lot of love back into me, and that everybody else will be okay. So, that's one thing. My younger self would be surprised at how much balance, memory, and mobility I have lost from the age of 60 to 70. I just can't move like I used to, and maybe I don't want to anymore. Maybe I want to go slower. But she would be surprised that 10 years, in only 10 years, how much slower I move through space and how much of my memory is just not there anymore. I'm holding on to all the things that I think are important, but a lot of other things are just going to the wayside. And it's embarrassing for those of us that are aging when memory starts to play a part, and then you start thinking, do I have Alzheimer's or something? But I think it's the breakdown of the body between 60 and 70, despite the fact that you're lifting weights or you're in the gym and you're doing yoga and you're taking naps and drinking water and taking vitamins. Though we are doing all those things, it is a steady march. In every 10 years, you can really feel the toll that time has taken over the past decade. It's a little bittersweet because we're much wiser now, but we're not the girl we used to be.
I am Leanna Martin, and I am an aunt, a daughter, and a friend. Still being single would probably be a surprise for my younger self, because she was like, I'm getting right back out there. But yeah, and actually right now I'm good with it, so I think my younger self would have been not expecting to be able to be that way, but fiercely independent now. And I don't think I was like that at 34. And then what else? Still struggling with weight issues probably would be a surprise too. It's like you haven't gotten that under control yet, but I mean, that's what it is. So, we work on it. And I don't think that's necessarily negative. I don't feel that way about weight. Some people hate that about themselves. I mean, I accept it and it's fine, and it isn't adversely affecting my health. So I don't worry about it too much, but it is a thing I think that a 34-year-old me cared a lot more about than 44-year-old me does. Something positive that they would like about me. Still being at the same place of employment, I think is a positive thing that might be surprising. Just surprised by how things turned out. It's not what you expect. When you think of where you'll be in 10 years, it's never going to be what you think, unless you really work to make that happen.
My name is Abigail Seymour, and I am an entrepreneur, a lawyer, and an Enneagram 7. That I don't feel any older than I did then. I think when I think that younger self would be like, whew, you're going to feel like, you're going to be old, and B, you're going to really feel old. And neither of those things are true at all. And I think also that everything that I was going through or dreaming about or setting my sights on at that time was going to be worth it, because that was a very difficult period for me. That was when I got divorced. No, I didn't get divorced. I went to law school. I lost my sister. I was diagnosed with cancer not too long after that. And all of those things were hurdles that just felt like I wasn't going to get there, and that it was all for naught. Someone said to me, everything you want is on the other side of comfort. And so I was willing to go through that discomfort. But I think if my younger self would say, this is a terrible idea, what you're doing. It's not worth it. And it's going to wear you out. And by the time you're 10 years from now, you're going to be exhausted. And I would say, no, that's not true at all. Like, none of that. All of those things you were afraid of, none of them came true. I wish I'd thought of it. It was a therapist who said it to me, and I was like, that's such a genius point, because I wanted to quit and not take the bar. I didn't want to take the bar exam again. I failed it the first time. I had breast cancer right after that, and I didn't want to keep going. I wanted to basically say, I shouldn't do this, right? Like, the world is telling me not to keep going. The universe is saying your body can't take it. It's okay for me to do something else. And he didn't say anything. He just said everything you want is on the other side of comfort. And I was like, I didn't like that answer, but he was right.
My name is Ann Sparks-Baumgardner, and I am a caregiver. I'm a member of a women's organization that I'm very passionate about. I am a cyclist. I'm a road cyclist, and I love being out of doors. Well, I thought about that one too. I think that if I was able to talk to myself younger, I'd say, oh, don't worry so much. Oh my gosh, the things are gonna be okay. And you spend way too much time worrying about how things are gonna turn out or how what people think of you. It doesn't matter, and relax a little bit more. And how incredibly strong you are. I never, ever thought of myself as a strong person. And a lot of people say I am. And I think going through 5 years of my husband having cancer and taking care of him, and then him passing away at 66, I never dreamed. I thought that life would end when he was gone. But guess what? Life goes on. And I have accomplished, I've driven to British Columbia. I've driven to California twice. I've done some pretty amazing things. If I decide to do something, I do it, I'm cautious, but I guess I'm pretty, I would tell myself, wait till you see the things that you can accomplish and be more confident. Just be more confident.
Hi, my name is Michelle. I am a gynecologist, bicyclist, and someone who loves life. I'm less of a worrywart now. I'm more comfortable in my skin. Going back to that perfectionist thing earlier, I think I've let a little bit go and happier in general with myself. So I would say to myself, you're actually not going to run around like a maniac every time you get to vacation anymore. That's partly thanks to my wife too. And I don't feel like I have to do everything all the time to the nth degree. I think that would surprise me. I think that would surprise me because even 10 years ago, I was still full on, full court press, taking on patients and promising deliveries of certain people because I thought it was the right thing to do. And so, yeah, I think I would be surprised if I realized I wasn't doing that later on.
My name is Marie Leonard, and I am a mom, a daughter, and an energetic lover of life. Your house is still a little bit messy. That you're there's a couple of things that I think about that, like those clothes that you've been holding on to, they're still not going to fit, so you should probably just get rid of them. Like let your attic have some breathing space, because they're still not going to fit. But that you're going to have a lot more time, because 10 years ago I was still in the throes of Little League and all the practices and, raising up of a, upper elementary school aged son. And so now, like, I have time. I'm, heading into the empty nest era, and yeah, I have a lot more time. And so I think my younger self would say, like, whoa, wow, girl, you got some time. Like, go enjoy that. And yeah, and that some things are the same, like that the things that I love then and now are still the same. I think the younger self would be like, wow, you're still at it. You're still stitching. You're still cooking. Your family's still, like, my mom is still kicking. Because at 10 years ago, they told us that she probably wouldn't be that much longer. And so she's still going, which is great. So I think if I could tell my younger self a thing, to just say, like, take a deep breath. Because that self was pretty stressed out. Little tightly wound, and I don't know if it really served me very well. So, like, just relax. It's gonna be okay. Everyone's gonna be here. So just take a breath.
My name is Abigail Dunn Moses, and I am an educator of adults who heals the brokenhearted. You've come a long way, baby. Oh, goodness gracious me. She would say, wow, I wasn't sure you'd make it. Because, I deal with a lot. I came here when I was 18 to the United States, when I was 18 to go to college. And I got fire hosed down with American culture. That can make you say ouch, and then professionally, just breaking into the work that I do is difficult. Enjoyable, I love it, but it's difficult. Being married with children, getting divorced, recovering, all of that is things that she would say, girl, I didn't know whether you'd make it. I have, let me tell you a quick story. You can cut this out if you want to, but my sister and I, she lives in Nigeria and she visits periodically. We were sitting at a Mexican restaurant, and we were commiserating about a friend who wanted to write but was not able to write. There was just a block there. I was commiserating by saying, oh, but it's been so difficult because she's gone through this and she's gone through that and she's gone through the other. And my sister looked at me and said, just look at you. Think about everything that you've gone through. You deserve an Oscar. Oh, she made me laugh that day. You deserve an Oscar for all the problems and challenges that you've had. And you're still sitting up, upright, full of joy, heart to love. She said, don't make excuses for her. But the part about, thinking about my life and an Oscar, it was like, that's what made it so funny. Yeah.
Coming back to the question, imagine you get to have a conversation with yourself 10 years ago. What would surprise your younger self about you now?
How difficult was that question for you to answer? And be honest.
After you answer this question for yourself, think about reaching out to other women in your life for their answers.
Remember to share your answers with us in our 10 Women series on Instagram. We can't wait to read your answers. And speaking of answers, we've actually got some different answers on our Instagram page. That's because we asked all the women surprise questions to learn more about them. Join us on Instagram at 10 Women series to hear their answers.
We hope you will join us every Tuesday for a new episode wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. This series is distributed both as an audio only and a YouTube video format to allow you to enjoy each episode your preferred way. Be sure to visit our website at www.sassyyam.com to learn more about this series and all the places you can find us. 10 Women is a production of Sassy Yam Media. Amy Brown and Sarah Howard, producers. Feel free to send us an email at sassyyammedia@gmail.com. Special thanks to the women of Season 1, Kimberly Burke, Judy Fowler, Michelle Horvath, Marie Leonard, Leanna Martin, Abigail Dunn-Moses, Susan Sassman, Abigail Seymour, Ann Sparks Bumgaudner, and Terry Wiggins.